Welcome guys to another episode of the Extra Mile. My name is Alex and I'm sitting here in Assetto Corsa today, and we will drive the same car and track combination as we did yesterday. We will start with the Ferrari 330 P4, which looks beautiful as well here in Assetto Corsa. Look at that tiny little shifter there. That's cute. And we still have that huge lever and the other switches here in the center console. Oh man, this is pretty. Yeah, so I thought it would be quite interesting to compare the same car and track combination here in Assetto Corsa with the one in Project Cars 2 that we recorded yesterday. And I'm quite curious to see if Assetto Corsa or the cars in Assetto Corsa share the same behavioral characteristics as the cars in Project Cars 2 did. So the Ferrari in Project Cars 2 was the nervous one, especially under braking, and was generally more unstable. And the Ford GT40 was the stable car that was a bit longer geared and just a little bit more planted. And today we'll find out if that's the same in Assetto Corsa or if this is different. I don't know yet, but I think this should be quite interesting. So, oh yes, little bit of oversteer already in second gear on cold tires. Let's start slow here. Oh! Really like the engine sound as well. The car seems to be a lot more stable under braking than it was in Project Cars 2. Oh, this feels very nice. Alright, first time on the straight. Here in this left-hander, the cars on Project Cars 2 lifted the front wheel a little bit, which probably was not very realistic. This car does not do that. This car is a lot more stable under braking. Oh, he said and spun out. Come on. Let's stay in second gear here. All right, come on. Oh yes, so much more controllable. We will stay in second here as well. Ooh, little bit of lift off oversteer. And again. So the general tendency to oversteer on corner entry is still here, but it's much more manageable. This is a much easier car to drive than the one in Project Cars 2. And I would assume that this is more realistic, because if this car would have driven like the one in Project Cars 2 did, a lot of people would have ended up dead, I think. Oh, that was too fast, that was too fast. Whoa. I mean, it still is a little bit unstable, but nothing like the car in Project Cars 2. Brakes seem to be better as well. Let's test this again. Here, braking now. Yes, they are better. Alright, let's go for a fast one here. There we go. Come on. Come on. Okay, so that was actually pretty damn interesting. The general characteristics are still there, but everything is so much more manageable. It was a little bit sketchy under braking. There was a little bit of that initial lift-off oversteer, turn-in oversteer when you're on the brake, but everything was so much more controllable. This car feels more right than the one in Project Cars 2, although obviously it has to be said that I've never driven a 330 P4 in real life, and I probably never will, but just from my gut feeling I would say that this is a little bit more on the realistic side. The car in Project Cars 2 was too tricky to handle, and yeah, quite interesting. We will see what the lap time says in the end, but this was pretty interesting. Anyway, now let's hop into the GT40 and see how that will go. Alright, here we are on the GT40, and we can see right away that this is a little bit more advanced here. I think this might be the Mark II model, so it might not be directly comparable to the one we've driven in Project Cars 2, but anyway, it should be close enough. We can also hear that in this case the engine sound is not that great. Does not even really sound like a V8, but anyway. Let's see how this will go. So just to reiterate, the car in Project Cars 2 was very stable, had pretty bad brakes, pretty long gears. The long gears seem to be the same. Oh, and the bad brakes too. really disappointed by the engine sound actually. It sounds like a 4-cylinder. Does not sound great. But what I can already say is that this does feel more stable than the Ferrari. Although the general difference is a little bit lower. The Ferrari in Project Cars 2 was very unstable and the GT40 was very stable. The Ferrari here in Assetto Corsa was slightly more unstable, but more unstable nonetheless. There is a little bit of understeer here in this car, just as there was in Project Cars 2. Yes, definitely more understeer than in the Ferrari. Can't really get over how bad this engine sounds. But the good thing is that this car is more controllable than the Ferrari. Whoa, he said and spun off the track. Okay, let's go for a fast one. So far so good. Get to the apex, there we go. A little bit of a slide. Again a little bit of a slide. Come on. Okay, that was good. Not too fast, so we can get this one. There we go. We go. Come on. All right. All right, let's see. Kind of weird, this one. I think this car felt a little bit slower than the Ferrari, but that's always hard to tell just by gut feeling. But it felt a little bit slower. Anyway, we will now find out if it is by cutting those two side by side. Alright guys, that was the Ford GT40 versus Ferrari 330p4 comparison in Assetto Corsa, and I think it was quite interesting. Two things stood out for me. First of all, both of the cars were more drivable in Assetto Corsa. The Ferrari in Project Cars 2 was very sketchy under braking and generally had more movement. It's not necessarily more or less realistic that they are more drivable, but it just felt a little bit better overall. I thought it was interesting that this car here in Assetto Corsa was slower than the Ferrari, while it was the other way around in Project Cars 2. That being said, the general times were relatively close to each other, so that's a good thing, I guess, because we do have probably different setups here. Not quite sure which tire is simulated here versus the tire simulated being simulated in Project Cars 2, and they should be the same, of course. They are from the same era, but you know, what kind of mixture is it? Is it a hard, a soft tire, a medium tire? We don't know. So that they are relatively close in terms of lap times, I think that's a pretty cool thing. Yeah, quite interesting, this one. I hope you enjoyed watching this, and I will see you in the next one. Bye bye.